Hello and welcome to Titaboutie, one of the 2 demo farms for the AgriTech demo farm project. What you'll see tonight is currently an update on one batch of technology that Dan and Andrew have been trialling here. There's less and less folk in the industry, and you're having to do more individually and still get good performance. And technology, we believe, is really, a way to do that.
So we're a subsidiary of SAOS. We've helped with the AgriTech project here in 2 farms at 4 locations, two locations for 2 farms each. And our aim was to trial LoRaWan. LoRaWan is a technology for putting devices out in rural areas here over a long range at low cost. We have a gateway up there which effectively acts like a Wi-Fi router, but for LoRaWan. That will give us 3 to 5 kilometers blanket coverage. With that blanket coverage, you could put any number of devices out in the fields and in sheds and buildings and in your tractors and stuff to monitor anything you can think of. Going from this side of the table, we've got gate sensors, and that was kicked off because people who need to have right-of-way access through their fields would find they'd have their gates left open by public going through, and they can set alarms up from their phone or dashboard for at the end of the evening just to see if it's open, so they don't need to go travelling around their land basically to see if it is. We've got environmental monitors for temperature, humidity, CO2. We put them in a lot of cattle sheds and the like. The idea being that with enough of that data profiled over time, you can start to catch if certain groups of cattle are maybe getting ill because of the conditions they're in, and you can look at changing that.
And then looking at something like this is just a simple temperature sensor. So we've been trialling these in fridges that have been storing vaccines. So this allowed us to actually see how often those fridges go out of the kind of range of the kind of recommended storage temperature for the vaccines.
We've got trough sensors, so we can measure flow of water through the trough, level monitors and leak detection. That way you can tell how much cattle are drinking through the day. We've got GPS trackers. You can put this in cattle, so a collar for that, or you can put it in assets like tractors or quads and the like, and get alerts for when they've maybe moved out of a zone that you weren't happy with.
And then there's some devices are kind of stuff that's off the shelf, so we'll just kind of buy them from a vendor and we'll kind of trial them on farm. Inevitably, they kind of make a lot of lofty claims about how robust they are, weatherproof, and then sometimes you stick them on farm and you find out they last a week. So there's been a lot of trial and error stuff that we've just kind of broken on farm. And we've maybe had to make some modification. That could range from anything, just putting a wee cage around about it to stop it getting chewed off a wall, to something maybe a bit more involved, like grain probes that kind of monitor temperature of the grain pile. And it's kind of evolved from just a sensor on a copper pipe initially, then evolved to a sensor on a painter's pole, one that extended in poles, and now we've got something that's a bit more slick. It's carbon fibre, it's all machined. The kind of sensors nicely recessed into this, and we can get them all sort of colour coded, so you can get a number of these stuck in the grain pile. You can monitor temperatures for farm assurance. You can see all the different probes on your dashboard. You can set alerts if it goes out with particular temperature parameters that you set. And again, just really simple, effective stuff to deploy. So one of the things that we're trialling is pollinator sensing devices. So basically it's a box that kind of listens for the wing beats of pollinators. So if you've maybe planted a wildflower mix to try and encourage biodiversity, you can actually see the increase in the presence of pollinators based upon these devices. If you're able to evidence some of that things with data, it enhances your position in the supply chain.